Apple just canceled their next big project. The thing that was supposed to replace the iPhone now has failed. Things are just not going too good for Tim Cook lately. Plus, there is some new drama on the iPhone SE 4 you need to know about. We've got some new details on new products coming at the spring event next month. And Apple just revealed what the future of the company is. And believe it or not, it's not the iPhone. Let me break down everything in the wild world of Apple that you need to know about right now. Starting first with the biggest flop of the week, or the year, actually. Okay, let me rewind a bit and sort of set the stage for why this is such a big deal. Obviously, Apple's sort of been looking to replace the iPhone with something new, some new product, some new revenue stream. They've tried making adjacent products like the iPad and the Apple Watch and things like that, but they know they need something new. So when all this discussion about mixed reality and AR and VR sort of took over the internet over the last, decade or so, Apple really saw this as an opportunity to do something big. And long story short, after a couple of bouncing around rumors of different things over the years, we got Apple Vision Pro, which, to Apple's credit, is an incredible piece of technology. The experience it provides is amazing. Pass-through, immersion, sort of pinching and holding and moving windows. It's amazing, but the price and the form factor are both so prohibitively expensive and clunky that it's just made Vision Pro sort of a flop. Even many people who I know on our team who have them, who love them, will even say that buying it used at a discount is the way to go. So what Apple really ultimately wanted to do, of course, was not make a big headset. They wanted to make, glasses, things like this. Something sleek and compact that would allow you to sort of have the Apple Vision Pro experience, the mixed reality experience, in something way cheaper, way lighter, and less bulky. So Apple's been working on glasses for years. And we heard over the years that they've been running into a couple of different problems. The first, really the reason that Vision Pro has that tether, is due to battery life and power. That we heard that because this experience needed such a powerful chip, that battery life was going to be an issue. Or what Apple could do to improve battery life was to somehow move the processing power over to something like an iPhone or even a Mac, something that could do the heavy lifting while this remained thin and light. We've heard that Apple's been really working on this for years, and after sort of running into some roadblocks with the iPhone power limitations, they decided to go with something for the Mac. That apparently Apple was working on, at least initially, some augmented reality, mixed reality glasses that would connect to the Mac. So you'd have the thin and lightweight form factor, but the Mac would do the heavy lifting. But apparently that's been canceled as of the end of last week. We sort of got this in a Friday afternoon blitz of news that apparently for one reason or another, or multiple reasons, Apple has decided to cancel the product. Now, that in and of itself isn't that big of a deal. I mean, tying it to a Mac sort of seems like it'd be a little bit of an issue anyways. But what I'm more interested in this scenario is, where does this leave Apple's mixed reality ambitions? Especially as more and more players enter the space. Samsung's got their, I'll call it a Vision Pro knockoff. They're working on their own thing. Meta's got Orion and other projects that they're working to sort of bring mixed reality to the masses. Where does Apple go from here? Do they double down on Vision Pro and trying to make that form factor as sleek and accessible and as, less expensive, as they possibly can? Do they move into trying to reinvent the form factor of, instead of doing glasses, doing something else? I'm not sure where this leaves Apple, but the cancellation of this product really just doesn't bode well for Apple in this particular space. So let me know your thoughts down below if this is something Apple should even keep, entertaining, or if they should go in a different direction. But kind of some interesting news here that sort of sets the stage on a bit of doom and gloom for Apple in 2025. But while that might be sort of a faltering sort of experience for Apple, the good news of this is that Apple is going to sort of double down on their bread and butter, really trying to maximize the products they know work, and better than that, try to maximize the best experience they can offer for the lowest price. And that's sort of what we're hearing right now, is that the theme of this rumored spring event, likely happening either at the end of this month or early in March or sometime next month, sometime this spring, I'll just say that, that is going to be about budget-focused products, where we'd get the iPhone SE4, we'd get a budget-focused iPad, we'd be getting an M4 MacBook Air, and then sort of the current latest rumor is that this Apple Home Hub, this sort of Frankenstein Apple speaker with an iPad display on there, might actually be making its debut as soon as next month. We've heard a flurry of rumors that Apple is really trying to get into the smart home space, that they're going to try to make their own cameras and doorbells and maybe smart lighting and things like that. It seems like HomeKit is maybe some new sort of uncharted territory for Apple, that maybe they could get into that space and make a big splash. So that seems like where Apple is going, and we could see sort of the fruits of that as soon as a couple of weeks from now with this new smart home device. Of course, the star of the show at that event will likely be the iPhone SE4 or the iPhone 16e or whatever Apple decides to call it. The budget iPhone is going to likely be one of the biggest announcements we get, and for good reason, because according to all the leaks and rumors and even some new dummy models we've got videos of, this is giving you a more modern iPhone 14 style design, a single 48 megapixel camera, a 6.1-inch OLED display, USB-C, maybe an action button, maybe Apple Intelligence, good battery life though, for a sub $500 price point. That is going to be very good and gives you a good iPhone experience without breaking the bank. Now, recently there's been like a lot of controversy over the screen. There were some rumors of it being more like the iPhone 16 with the dynamic island. Then we got some rumors it would have a notch. Honestly, I'll tell you, as someone who loves their iPhone with the dynamic island, not only do I find the dynamic island not necessarily like a must-have thing, but I feel like, especially in this case, it's all about price. And for sub $500, I feel like most people won't care if it has a dynamic island or a notch. Just giving it a, mostly edge-to-edge 6.1-inch OLED display is going to be upgraded enough. I mean, just look at this phone side by side with like the current iPhone SE. This is going to be a major upgrade in every way. So having these disagreements and arguments over whether it has a dynamic island or notch sort of seems like a moot point. I think just all of this in and of itself is going to be really exciting, and especially for $500, or I should say under $500. So that's going to be super exciting, and again, we should be seeing that pretty soon over the next couple of weeks. And finally, one other interesting note here about Apple in 2025, and something that might sort of set the stage for other announcements we see this year, came from Apple's earnings call. This is where they talk about their success, or maybe some failures they had with the number of products they shipped and the money they made, and one of the big takeaways from that call was a theme we've seen over and over again the last couple of years, which was iPhone sales and sort of iPhone momentum was down, but what was up was services and subscriptions. That's iCloud, it's Apple Music, it's Apple TV Plus. That is sort of a growing category for Apple that significantly grew over the last couple of quarters and even the last couple of years, and has been very profitable for Apple. The reason this is important and what this means is basically that Apple is likely going to continue to double down on this category over the next couple of years, that we're going to see more of a concentrated effort from Apple to bolster things like Apple Music and Apple TV Plus and Apple Arcade and Apple News, and maybe even give us some new sort of subscription services and other things that we can subscribe to monthly or pay yearly for that sort of enhance the Apple experience. Maybe this could be, for a while we had heard that Apple was working on maybe a hardware subscription service where you could pay monthly and upgrade to the latest Mac or the latest iPad or Apple Watch or iPhone. That could maybe still be something we see, but I think more than that, we're going to see Apple really try to bolster their streaming offerings to be as competitive as possible. I'm just curious to see what Apple is going to do in this space and what other new services we could see, because definitely it's a moneymaker for them, and right now, at least on paper, definitely has more momentum and excitement behind it than the typical old iPhone. So curious, what are your thoughts on this, guys? Where would you like to see Apple expand in 2025? Should they be focusing their efforts on mixed reality headsets and AR, VR glasses, or should they go with their bread and butter, make more affordable AirPods and iPhones and iPads and Macs, or should they venture into a streaming service or the subscription service and announce new things? Would you want to pay monthly for the latest MacBook Pro or iPad? Drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this. As always, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.